think that's loud. Am I really back on? Have I been let out? Have I been let out of Facebook jail? Is it true? I don't even know what I did. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't deserve it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going that far. But what did I do? Where's the... Oh, jeez. Hold on. Hold on. Woo, cancel. Oh, things are going great. I can tell already. It's going to be one of those shows. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Is this thing on? Let me refresh. Oh, Linda's here. Hi, Linda. Oh, people. Oh, my goodness. People are here. Miracle of miracles. I have indeed been released from YouTube. No, that'll come later, I'm sure. Facebook jail. So here's the thing. They wrote me, how are you today, Linda? It's nice to see you. They wrote me, I got a message, they're like, you cannot do any more live video or buy ads. I didn't even know I could buy ads. I'm like, I can buy ads? Do tell more. They're like, no more live video or ads for like the next month because of, I know, Aaron, it's good to see you too. Because of something you said on August, trying a new pop filter because my peas were popping, and apparently if I put this pop filter on, my peas will not pop anymore. Fred, thank you. It is good to be back. I missed you. But anyway, so yeah, I'm like, well, I literally don't want to be in Facebook jail. I'm not trying to, anger the Facebook gods. It's not really my goal in life. I thought we had a copacetic relationship. I know, I'm back. It's nice to see you, Aaron. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad to be here. Now with my new pop filter that's annoying me. I don't know. We'll see. That's all right, I guess. So let's all learn about Facebook community standards, shall we? Let's all learn together, because Lord knows, apparently I didn't know what they are. Here they are. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. Wait. Move this over here. Let me switch to which one? No. Oh, right screen. Duh. There. Here they are. Facebook community standards. There's COVID-19 standards, I guess. Who knows? Every day, people use Facebook to share their experiences. Right. We recognize how important it is for Facebook to be a place where people feel empowered to communicate. That's why we developed a set of standards. Our policies are based on feedback, ensure everyone's voice is valued. Create a place of expression to give people a voice. This has not and will not change. Okay, newsworthy. In some cases, we allow content for public awareness which would otherwise go against our community standards if it's newsworthy or in the public interest. We only do this after weighing the public interest value against. Okay, so some people get to say crazy crap, but apparently not me. Authenticity. We want to make sure the content is authentic. We believe authenticity. Okay, safety. We're committed to making it safe. We don't want people to threaten or intimidate or silence others. Privacy. Give people privacy. Dignity. Apply to everyone. You can have dignity. And that's it, I guess. Oh, wait. And then here. And then coordinating harm or publicizing crime. Regulated goods. I can't sell ammunition, marijuana, pharmaceutical drugs. So I don't know what I've probably done all of those things. I don't know, man. I can't be like I love those little icons of Aaron's. I love them. What's up, David Rucker? The David Rucker from Medina? That David Rucker? It is good to see you, my man. I would love to... Is that true? Is that really true? Is that my man, David Rucker? I think it is. Hold on. It is David Rucker. David Rucker is a friend of mine who I grew up with in Medina. And man, really, he lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wow, that's awesome. Studied a bachelor's of science in criminal justice. Okay, and if I may be so bold, yeah, right? I think Facebook has their own agenda, says Aaron. I've reported downright porn and they won't remove it. What seems okay for one person gets you Facebook jail. It's weird, yeah. Robin Everly. It's good to see you. David Rucker, I would love to get your position on Black Lives Matter. David Rucker is an African American. What was Sage like growing up? I would love to know that too, Marcus. David Rucker was raised by his grandmother, and his grandmother was so wonderful. And I think she just recently passed away, I'm sorry to say. Maybe in the last year or so. But at any rate, I don't know if you want to talk about any of that, David. But it's interesting. A young man growing up in Medina, Ohio, an African-American young man growing up in Medina, Ohio. I would love to know so much. We should actually do an interview because I would love to know how David felt, if he felt welcomed in Medina, if he felt ostracized in Medina. And I believe he became a police officer. And so there's a million things I would love to know about David Rucker. Trans Short. Also a friend from Medina High. Okay. Was I quiet? Yes, I was quiet, wasn't I, Trans? How was Medina for you, Trans? Did you feel welcome in Medina? I would like to know. So, obviously, primarily white community to this day. And trans was a friend of mine, I think primarily in junior high, whereas David was a friend of mine more in elementary school. And junior high, we were kind of, no, I think you're right, Trans. So, you're right. Trans and a guy by the name of Jeremy Van Boxel, and I recall us kind of hung out. Well, I remember us being in math class together, particularly, and I remember going to dances and hanging out with Trans. So anyways, I would love to know that experience of what it was like being an African American in Medina in the late 80s, you know. Anyways, so good to see you all here. It's good to be back. I watched a movie called The Community. Let's see, Netflix. hold on. Netflix documentary on social media. Google will know what I'm talking about. Hold on. The Social Dilemma. Okay. So here, I want to show you this. Have you guys watched this documentary? Netflix documentary The Social Dilemma explores the dark side of social media. Um, it like most documentaries, it has an agenda, but also offers some insight. It says social media is nearly an inescapable facet of our lives. Talks about the harms of social media, explores potential hazards by amplifying current fears. Beyond anything imaginable is an effort to showcase the dark side of social media, such as illegal data mining and manipulative technology to predict and control human psychology. So anyways, I do feel like this documentary was meant to make people afraid of social media, through, you know, actual facts, but then just fear mongering as well. And so, yeah. So, because it says, like right here, the documentary goes the extra mile by using a hyperbole to show social media is damaging every aspect of our life. It talks about how a simple like button can conflate our sense of self-worth with external validation, or how a filter in a selfie could lead to distorted or unrealistic beauty standards. But then it says it doesn't end on a sad note. They talk about how the industry could be regulated to bring positive change. So I do feel like they kind of overdid it a little bit. Yeah, Jeremy was your first white best friend. Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't seen him in a long time. Do you keep in touch with him? Okay, so listen to trans here. So growing up black in Medina was very difficult at times for a kid like myself, but it also had moments that I wouldn't change for the world. That's great, man. You know, as a young person, maybe you realize it more now in the year 2020, but in the late 90s, you know, we were not as educated about racial relationships and the obvious oppression of African Americans in America. And so, like a lot of times it's kids. I wouldn't change. Yeah. You were the best dancer that man could dance. I don't know what his stance is, if he's still a good dancer, but I'm telling you what, I think trans came from Cleveland. I don't know if that's where he learned his dance moves, but dang, that guy was legit dancer. I'm not kidding. So anyways, it falls on young people oftentimes to be the ambassadors for a city, so you take a guy like trans who moves in from out of town, moves into Medina, and then the people that he knows, the people he deals with every day are students. And so it's very important that young people realize that they're doing racial relations, and it's interesting to listen to my son, who's 15, he's going to be 16 soon. He's a sophomore in high school. And I feel like he is much more sensitive to other people's perspective in life. He is, I'm proud to say, a supporter of Black Lives Matter. my first friend was black, says Aaron. She was only 3 when we met. Fairlawn was tough for our black community too. We moved when I was 8. 48 years later, we made it through Facebook and still love each other as much now. That's awesome. That's so awesome. I feel like these young relationships can change the world. I had nothing but great experiences with African Americans growing up. So, David Rucker was a friend, Trans was a friend, and then, there's a guy who dated the woman across the driveway from me, Ed, and I can't remember Ed's name, but Ed taught me how to play pool and how to drive. And I will forever be thankful for both of those skills. Now, I will say my pool abilities are pretty lacking these days. I don't play. I should get back into pool, maybe some billiards. But yeah, man, he could play pool, and he taught all of us kids how to play pool, and it was awesome. And so I think it's these interpersonal relationships that if you get the chance to have them. Now, obviously, African Americans are pretty much almost, you mean the late 80s. I'm sorry, dude. Wow. The late 80s. You're right. I said the late 90s. I wish. No, man. Run DMC, baby. That was actually a great time for hip-hop, right? The late 80s. Ugh. Woo! Good stuff. Anyways, African Americans are subjected to race relations whether they want to or not. They're surrounded by white people constantly, but white people are rarely surrounded by black people. And may I say, if you ever get the chance to do it, I highly encourage a white person to go to an African American event. It amuses me because I get the opportunity to go to some, and it's like the word was put out. The 80s were cool, I think. I mean, I remember them fondly. I went to an event that was, and yes, I came from Cleveland. Your mom was the first people to, in her way, express to me that Black Lives. Wow, are you kidding me, Trans? That means a lot to me. Trans tells a great story about how my mom, I think, picked him up. He was going from the junior high to the high school or something, and she picked him up and drove him there. My mom would tell stories, and I know Trans never said this, but she did. So she worked in the suspension room for many years, and she got a lot of the minorities. There was a Hispanic family. Oh gosh, I can't remember them, but as you might expect, the minorities, there were a lot of minorities in the suspension room. And I don't mean it as you might suspect that they're bad. I mean, isn't that how it works in American society, that the minorities get targeted by authorities? That, of course, the African Americans and the Hispanics are going to end up in the suspension room just like they end up in our prisons. Because white people are stereotyping minorities. But at any rate, she did have pretty good relationships with minorities in high school. But she would tell me that sometimes an African American would say to her, they would say, "You're only doing this because I'm black." And man, did that get her goat. She's like, oh, she's like, every time they say that, I just see red. And who knows, like, I think that even the most well-meaning person can make racial mistakes, can do things unintentionally that are racist, So I don't know. She could have said she could have been doing things that were biased towards African Americans, but I don't think she meant it. But I do love that you always spoke highly of my mom, and that I'm proud that she was, I think, a representative of a decent white person. My mom wasn't particularly, I don't think, educated on civil rights or social, injustice. But I think she was a good person, you know? And that's great. That means a lot to me. Aaron says, I looked for her for 10 years. What's funny is she shopped where I worked on a regular basis and never knew. We squealed like banshees when we realized and saw each other again for the first time. It was magic. That's so cool. My mom, my mom has passed away, and it's cool because in a way I can talk more honestly about my mom, because I don't feel like, she would she would definitely be watching this show. She's just like my biggest fan ever. And so, but then I was self-conscious because then I didn't want to talk about her. So I will give you the unvarnished perspective of my mom as I saw her. Okay. My mom went to college. She went to Ohio State, and left in her last year, or even later. She never got her degree. And I think the reason she left was because there was a shortage in teachers, and they were offering to let people who were getting teacher degrees to go teach. And so what's funny was not funny, I don't know, just I guess she's like, all right, great, I can get out of college and go to Mickey Sanchez. That's the guy. Thank you, trans. That's the guy. Mickey's the whole Sanchez family. She always picked me up, did she? I stayed in school. I stayed in school suspension. Me and Siggy. Yeah. So there you go. It was trans and Mickey Sanchez, and do you feel, trans, that you being in school suspension was justified, or do you feel that you and Mickey were targeted potentially racially? I would like to know. My mom was highly sheltered and past that sheltered life to me. I had come to my own conclusions. Right on. So that was a fundamental strategic flaw in my mom's life, because she got married and she said to me, I never imagined I would not be married. She's like, I got married and I thought I'd be married the rest of my life. And then she wasn't, you see. And then when she got divorced, she had to sell printing to businesses door to door at minimum wage, which I think at the time was $3.14 an hour. And if she had had that education degree, she could have gone back to teaching. But she said that when she did teach, she hated it. She said it was terrible. So I don't know if she could have taught older kids or whatever, but that was one strategic error. And my mom, I would say, was not like the most educated parent. I never had curfews. All right, hold on. Clarabelle says she has to come up. Hold on. Oh, come here. Come here. Okay, everybody. Clarabelle's come to the show. All right, your mom had a great impact on my life. Wow. It didn't take her to be educated, just loving and caring us as black kids. And wow. Okay, so you actually cut right to the chase, trans. That is exactly what I was going to say that she was for me. She, you know, I think she made some mistakes potentially as a parent, but she made up for it tenfold with the love and care that she gave me. And that was really the lesson. That was the great lesson that I took away from my mom's life, that love is enough. You don't have to be some sort of genius. You don't have to be some sort of like sociological parenting genius. All you have to do is love and care for your kid. And she did that in unbelievable ways. And so, yeah, I'm so that I can't express to you, trans, how much that means to me. And then also maybe makes me realize like why I care about like homeless people and why I'm a big supporter of Black Lives Matter. And I don't know why I am kind of a anti-establishment guy. Like I really fight most. Yeah, it sounds like Sage's mom. Yeah, even without knowing it. I'm so thankful that you feel that way, trans. I mean, and you know what? I don't know if David Rucker's still on, but I could say the same about his grandmother. His grandmother raised him, and I loved David Rucker's grandmother. She was incredible as well. And I'm not quite sure, and it doesn't really matter, but I can't remember how that worked, that he, was brought up by his grandmother. But she was amazing as well. It's like there are these incredible parents out there, and maybe they're your parent, maybe they're a friend, maybe they're a grandparent, but man, they change the world. They change the world because don't you just want somebody to care about you? I mean, like, isn't that like all you want in life? Because who hasn't felt like they are living in a world where no one cares? Trans says, I felt my discipline as far as being reprimanded for being black, as far as being tardy to school was fair, but just being black made me stick out and be a target by default. There you go. So that's the thing, right? That's what made slavery in America so powerful, was that it was easy to spot a black person. And so I bet you, however, that there were white kids, probably, the stoner kids. Did you ever know a guy named Billy C? I think, and Bobby, I don't know. They were just these white kind of stoner kids. And I don't know. They got in suspension too. But I bet you, trans, they were as tardy and as guilty of, breaking school rules as you were, but I bet you you spent more time in suspension because you were black, right? I mean, I wish people that didn't believe in Black Lives Matter could like grasp that concept. That you take a kid, okay, you take a white kid who is doing stuff, and you take a black kid who's doing stuff, right, and then they could do the exact same things, but the black kid is going to get is going to stick out and is going to get penalized more than the white kid. And I think that's something that is obvious to black people, but not Joyce is here, but not obvious to many white people, okay? And I don't understand why that's such a challenging issue. That there's this joke, of driving while black, which is gotta be a thing. I'm telling you, drive around in Akron, drive by somebody that's pulled over. Thanks, Thomas. It's good to see you. You will never lose the bet if you bet the person that's getting pulled over is black. I literally can't think of a time I saw somebody get pulled over in Akron that wasn't black. I know it happens. I'm just saying, I never see it. Now, 30% of Akron is African American, so, I mean, we have a higher percentage than, say, Medina or Wadsworth. But I'm telling you, 70% of the time, I should see a white person being pulled over, but I'm telling you, it's 100% of the time in my anecdotal studies that it's a black person, okay? 100% of the time, it's a black person being pulled over, okay? Now, as Tran said, did the black person maybe do something, have a light out, turn without the signal? Sure. I'm not saying that they didn't maybe deserve to be pulled over, but how many white people deserve to be pulled over that got a pass, that got a pass? And we have to realize, that there is I believe an unconscious psychology to it all, okay? So I know a young woman who dated a black guy, a young white woman from a white town, she lived in the whitest town you can imagine, and started dating a black guy. She met him at church. And she would tell stories about how he would say stuff like, I asked her once, I'm like, do you ever make racial mistakes? And she's like, he calls me out on them all the time. And she, you're doing stuff that you don't mean to do. Oh, really? Me and David Rucker always competed against you, myself winning most of the time. I fought Billy C. Oh, wow. Okay, Billy C. stayed in school suspension just as much as I did. He must have looked black. Did you beat up Billy C? Because I'm sorry, that Billy C. I did not like. That boy could not have beat you up, right? Billy C. could not have possibly beat you up. Tran Short is a big guy. He's a big guy. Billy C. was kind of a scrawny stoner. I wonder if whatever happened, I fought Billy C. all the time. Andy's okay. So there you go. But don't you think Billy C was doing way worse stuff than you? Didn't Billy C like put a pipe bomb or something underneath the bleachers inside the school or something? I don't know. He must have looked black. Anyways, Billy stayed in school just as much as I did. I'll be darned. My life too. Really, Mary? Aw, wow. 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 Isn't that interesting that my mom was just she was just the suspension monitor, but yet that was a powerful, influential place to be in. Billy stayed in school just as much. Okay, that's good to know. Xenophobia is instinctual from when we were hunter-gatherers. Okay, I do want to just clarify the word xenophobia so that we all know that's an important word. So, and I hear it a lot, and I don't know if everybody knows what it means, and I don't always know because it means a dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. Okay, so so that's good to know, but like, it's an idea that we dislike other people, right? We're stuck with, racism is an unjust extension of that instinct, in my humble opinion, and must be recognized. Yes. So I think that's right, Marcus? I think you can see it in the animal kingdom all the time. You know, I can see it in my house. Like every once in a while, the dogs just get pissed off at the cat, and the cat gets pissed off at the dogs. And, you know, it's because I'm pretty sure they feel like they've been unjustly not given the right amount of food, you know? And, you know, they, like, fortunately, they don't, like, murderously attack each other, but I think you can see it in nature, right? That the other is a threat. If you're a dog, you're in a pack. I don't know how cats, I only got one cat. Well, you know, sometimes cats can pack up, I guess, or whatever. So I think that we can appreciate that the other is a threat, right? And I mean, obviously, right? When people came to the west coast of Africa, coming for slaves, they were a threat. You see, when Columbus came into the Caribbean, he was a threat. And those were not unjustifiable feelings, right? When the white man shows up at your border, you would do well to consider him a threat. Right? I mean, I can't think of a time where a white man showed up and it worked out great for whoever door he busted in. I can't think of it. So there's value in that. I would think if the aliens come, we would be well to be suspicious of why the aliens are here. You know, so hey guys, welcome to Earth. What brings you here all this way? Why, you know, hey Lisa, it's good to see you. So I feel like it is not irrational to have a fear of the other, right? However, as a human being in human society, the other is not a person. The other, for example, right now, is a virus. We would do well if we would team up as Team Human and see coronavirus, COVID-19, as an enemy. But instead, we keep fighting ourselves. We are like, are you watching these videos of like people walking into stores and calling 911 because their civil rights have been violated because they aren't allowed to shop without a mask? I mean, they like to call them Karens, It's always the ones I've seen have been women, but she's wearing a shirt. Just a fear of the unknown, right? I should have admitted this a long time ago. I am a cataphobe. What? Does that mean you're afraid of cats? Let me look up cataphobe. Cataphobe. Yeah, I think you're afraid of cats. Well, do you feel better telling the world that you're a cataphobe if it's what I think it is? Do you feel better getting it off your chest? Oh, joke, bro. Well, I know. I'm kind of joking too. It's hard to know. So at any rate, we have to realize that the other is okay. I don't trust cats. I feel like a cat would, given the slightest chance, genocide all other animals. All other animals. Just clean them off. They would love a complete extinction event of everything other than cats. And then they would just start killing themselves until there was one cat left. I don't know, man. Cats are assholes. I'm just going to say it. I don't know. Have you ever seen a cat just look at you like he just wants to eat your throat? And then you're like, oh, good kitty. If I have to have one phobe, I think this is safe. Yeah. It's legit. Although I'm more concerned about the raccoons. I really do believe my vote is the next talking animal will be a Lisa. That will be a raccoon. I feel like the raccoons are coming for us. Just give them another 10,000, 100,000 years. Yeah, they don't narc on you when you got weed. That's a good point, man. So, we have to, I think we're slowly getting there, and I think that we will get better, but I can't see racism disappearing in the human race. Why aren't we just all against the virus, But no, we have somehow made it Democrats versus Republicans in the United States. If you wear a mask, you're some sort of mamby-pamby liberal, and if you don't wear a mask, you're a Trumpster who is anti-science. Obviously, I'm taking the the racist position. Brandy says, when I grew up from age 4 to 11 in Birmingham, Alabama, where race roles were reversed, at least at that time, my sister and I were like the only white kids in our class. Very interesting. We didn't catch more trouble than the black children, but we were hated and picked on just for our skin. Wow. It forever changed how I treated people. Treat everyone with equal love because I would never want to make anyone feel like that. Wow. Those suckers are those vast marmots. Scare the... Yeah. Raccoons are terrifying. They're terrifying. They're cute as all get out, which makes it more terrifying. We love to pack up with anything. We're like, oh, cute little raccoon. Like Joyce, see? Pet raccoon. I mean, who doesn't want a pet raccoon? But I'm telling you, they're coming for us. Very interesting that Brandy said she, I'm quite sure, felt hated because of her skin color. Now, have any of you seen the special LeBron James does on HBO? I don't know if it's still on, but he does it in a barbershop. he, the first episode was him talking about going to school. He just said in the show, he's like, I went to a private Catholic school in high school. And he said that he felt very isolated and not accepted. And he's like, I just kept to myself. And that's LeBron James, okay? LeBron James at St. Vincent St. Mary. You can go watch it. It's on that TV show. That he felt that he was not welcome at St. Vincent St. Mary. And that's LeBron James, okay? So racism is improving in our country ever so slightly. The 60s and 70s were brutal. We have a long way to go. I would say that's correct, that racism is improving, but actually, I don't need to say anything better than what Thomas just said. Yes. Is it better? Yes. Is it still a nightmare? Yes. But I read, I've read some Black Lives Matter books this year, and it's really helped me. Thomas says, when I was homeless walking through the hood, I found out what racism was. I was intimidated to a level that I finally understood racism. Really? That's interesting. So did you feel, so I can't tell, Thomas, are you a white guy? I think you're a white guy. So did you feel that reverse racism, that you were not welcome in that neighborhood? Which is kind of what I think Brandy is saying. So obviously, white people do not hold, I don't think probably anything special from their racial tendencies. However, they control all the institutions, which makes it oppression, right? Whereas like maybe Brandy saw it on a micro scale in Birmingham, and Thomas saw it walking through the hood, which I quite do believe. I think the difference is, I feel like we're regressing. It scares me. Okay, so Aaron is feeling like we're going backwards. I would be interested to know if others feel that way. So I don't. I feel like we are cleaning out our closets. So I've literally been singing that Eminem song all year about how we're cleaning out our closets. And you know what's in your closet. It's a nightmare in there. But you got to get it out, and you got to look at it, and you got to decide, should I keep it? Should I throw it away? You know? And so I feel like, personally, that we just ask an African American, has anything changed in 2020 that hasn't been that way since their entire life? Have they not, their entire lives, been pulled over while driving while black? You know, have they been targeted more? Jane, what's up? Because their entire lives, because they were black. I would think they would say, of course, we've been experiencing this our entire lives. Welcome to the party, white people. Glad you could finally make it. That, you know, we've been telling you this for generations and you'd never believed us, but finally we're getting it on video and you're like, I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked. You're like, really? You're shocked, white person? Not only do I feel so many are against those of other races, but now turning against our own race. It's sad. Yeah, so that I think we would classify as classism, perhaps, right? Like, I mean, that the shelter was in a bad area, had to walk there after work, going through there at 2 a.m. was scary. Even if nobody addressed me or said anything, it was a feeling I cannot describe. I felt threatened every second. Interesting. Very interesting. So that, I'm sorry, obviously, that you had to experience that. And I hope you got through it okay. But that is an experience I would say most white people in the North, particularly, don't have. And may I say, there are predominantly black schools in Akron, and I'm here to tell you, I think most white people won't go, right? Because, well, they'll say it's a bad school, you know. And may I say, I was doing some substituting before COVID-19, and my favorite high school was East High School, which is a predominantly minority school, like African Americans and Hispanics and Asians and stuff. And a kid just recently, I think, graduated from East, got shot and killed, a football player. What's interesting was he was shot at a high school football game a few weeks back, and then they came and got him. But I loved it. I loved East High School. I loved the kids there. I'm glad I did. It changed my life, says Thomas. Wow. Politics is like a new racism, says Brandy. That's very observant, isn't it? I didn't really know racism was until I went to prison for 6 years. Did you feel the target of racism in prison, Robin? That's interesting. I saw a spray painted wall over by Dave's just yesterday that says, "Kill all the poor people." Whoa. Wow. I got to go find that. Is that over there on East Exchange, that Dave's? I will tell you this. I was driving to a homeless camp on Friday, and two white guys in a pickup truck drove by me and yelled out the window, "Fuck you, man." And I knew they were talking to me because I was there to help the homeless. And so this is an interesting observation, Aaron. Oh, you saw it only. Right on, Robin. Yeah. Did you feel like you needed to clump up racially, Robin? Did you need to stay with the white people primarily? I mean, were you was that a concern that you had to be in the right racial grouping in prison? So I believe that classism is on the rise. That in the 40s, before World War II, and everybody came home and started getting, houses, everybody was poor. And now people are getting left behind. And I think people are starting to hate poor people. I'm not saying that racism and classism are the same. I think they're additive. Jane says, our high school yelled racial slurs at a bunch of people from a mostly black high school at a football game last week. Whew. Okay, yeah, so here we go, right? Right by your building on Broad. It's on Exchange. Yeah, that's the one I was wondering. Okay, I got to go look at that. I can't imagine the reverse racism in jail. Too much for me to imagine. Yeah. Okay, so I got to go see that spray paint job, Aaron. Kill all the poor people. So, whew. Can you imagine it not being a poor person that wrote that? I mean, or could it have been like, oh boy, I would love to know who wrote that. I'm going to go find that. So I think we have a choice. Bring cover paint. Good idea. I'm going to do that. Okay, Thomas. Genius idea. Thank you. Thank you, man. So the I think we are at a fork in the road, right? That we could regress as a society to become more racist. Um, I certainly believe that genocide is in within all of us. Going to vote today. Oh, going to vote today. Drive right by it. Okay. Ooh, can I go drop off my ballot today? If I were there, I would do it personally. Okay, now I'll do it. I'm actually thinking about getting a little involved in the graffiti world. Imagine a poor person writing it, though. Yeah. So I actually could see a poor person writing it. There is a lot of self-hatred in the homeless population, which I believe exacerbates homelessness. I can't tell you how many homeless people will blame other homeless people for being like the police coming and shutting down a camp. They'll be like, well, it was because so and so started stealing and bringing their stuff over here. And I'm like, no, man, it's because they hate you. The Proud Boys lawyer had a hit list with one of our city council members on it. Okay, see, we're starting to get people. I am seeing where people are starting to try to murder. I'm seeing murder like targets. Obviously, the governor of Michigan was targeted as a. They were thinking about taking her as a hostage. Just cover up the word poor and kill. I like it. It probably was a poor person. Yes, 1 to 5. Okay, good to know. Good to know. We see it. Take a picture of it. Put it. It is crazy someone would do it. Okay, I might go over there. Just okay. Maybe I'll do that. Kill the rich people. Okay, love that idea. What did Aaron say? Yeah. So we are potentially setting ourselves up for a revolution or a civil war, right? So like if you imagine one of my personal heroes is John Brown. John Brown can be nothing other than I might go over there today and take a picture of it, and maybe I will cover it up. Is there anything I need to do? Is there special cover-up paint, Thomas? I'm really new to the graffiti world. What do I bring? Just white paint and a roller? I'll stream it if I go over there. So the John Brown led the raid on Harper's Ferry. And, okay, hold on. So I want to tell you, okay, John Brown. Spray paint is easier. Oh, really? Should I just go? I was going to go get spray paint. I will post a pic for sure. Actually, I was going to go get some spray paint. I heard that the cheap stuff over at Lowe's or Home Depot is fine. I've been meaning to go get it. And then I'll spray paint over it. Okay, so I want to tell you about actions in Kansas. Okay, so a lot of people know about the Harper's Ferry deal where he tried to take over this ammunitions facility. $2 a can at Walmart. Okay, good. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you, Thomas. It sounds like this is the kind of information I need. So, okay. Okay. So, in 1855, Brown learned from his adult sons. Hold on. I'll show you this. Okay. In 1855, Brown learned from his adult sons in Kansas that their families were completely unprepared to face attack and that pro-slavery forces there were militant. Determined to protect his family and oppose the advances of slavery supporters, What did I do? What did I do? Darn it. Brown left for Kansas, enlisting his son-in-law and making several stops just to collect funds and weapons. As reported in the New York Tribune, Brown stopped en route to participate in an anti-slavery convention that took place in June of 1855 in Albany, New York. Despite the controversy that ensued on the convention floor regarding the support of violent efforts on the behalf of the free state cause, several people gave Brown financial support. As he went westward, Brown found more militant support for his home state of Ohio. In his home state of Ohio, particularly in strong anti-slavery Western Reserve section where his boyhood home of Hudson is located. So there was militant support of John Brown in Hudson, okay? Potawatomi. Brown and the free settlers were optimistic they could bring Kansas into the Union as a slavery-free state. After the winter snows thawed in 1856, the pro-slavery activists began the campaign to seize Kansas on their own terms. Brown was particularly affected by the sacking of Lawrence in May of 1856, in which a sheriff-led posse destroyed newspaper offices and a hotel. Then, let's see. Brown was outraged by both the violence of the pro-slavery forces and what he saw as a weak and cowardly response by the anti-slavery partisans and the free state settlers, whom he described as cowards and worse. So he was upset of the violence, okay, which is interesting because he's a violent guy. The Potawatomi Massacre occurred during the night of May 24th and the morning of May 25th, 1856. Using swords, Brown and a band of abolitionist settlers took from their residences and killed 5 professional slave hunters and militant pro-slavery settlers north of Potawatomi Creek in Franklin County, Kansas. I just want to read a little more. Speaking of the threats that were supposedly the justification for the massacre, Free State leader Charles Robinson stated, "When it is known that such threats were as plenty as blueberries in June and on both sides all over the territory, we were regarded as of no more importance than the idle wind. This indictment will hardly justify midnight assassination of all pro-slavery men, whether making threats or not. Had all men been killed in Kansas who indulged in such threats, there would have been none left to bury the dead." Pretty flowery. So in the 2 years prior to the Potawatomi Creek Massacre, there had been 8 killings in Kansas territory attributable to slavery politics, but none in the vicinity of the massacre. The massacre was the match of the powder keg that precipitated the bloodiest peril in bleeding Kansas history, a 3-month period of retaliatory raids and battles in which 29 people died. Okay, so what I want you to know is that I feel like I can see similarities to the beginning of the Civil War, okay? Now, I am not suggesting hated by the government establishment telling the truth of homelessness. Right on. That's awesome, bro. Thank you, Thomas. They do hate standing up, right? So what I want you to know is, have you heard of Skid Robot? It's not a good friend of mine who paints graffiti on Skid Row behind homeless people. It's amazing work. No, I haven't. I will. I'm going to Google it right now. But I want to, so I'm not saying in any stretch of the imagination that we are, oh, wow. Okay, I do want to see this. This is, okay, that's amazing, Skid Robot. I'm going to show people this in a minute. So, I don't feel like for sure, hey, thanks, Thomas, that I'm not going to say, yes, this is the beginnings of the Civil War. However, I will say, looking back, in fact, the raid on Harper's Ferry is by John Brown, who again is I'm a huge fan of, a great role model. But I will say I'm not here to kill people. But anyways, that I just want to get that out because I don't want that. I always want to append that I'm not in any way willing to murder people. So, but anyways, or even hurt people. But I do want to say that I'm seeing things that look like the sparks of division, okay? And these are how wars start, like little killings here, a killing there, a killing here, and people get more and more divided. So the question is, do we need a civil war for what is going on right now? And I don't know if it's just because I'm old, but I'm not afraid of war. It's fine. But I don't think it's a big price. Okay, civil wars are a huge price to pay. Okay, and I don't think it's necessary on either side. So basically, if I can sum it up, is white people. I think a lot of non-college educated white people. Why is that zooming out? Come on, get back here. Get back. Yes, thank you. A lot of white people are non-college educated white people feel that their jobs have been taken by the liberals. And I can't disagree. And in fact, I think we will attribute Donald Trump to a revival in Made in America. And he really did that, unlike any Republicans or any Republican or Democrats before him. A Made in America, we need to try to get our jobs back. Now, a lot of them are now robots, for sure, but there are still a lot of jobs in Mexico, okay? And I got nothing against Mexico, but I am saying that there's a lot of people, a lot of white people that are not, have really lost out on globalization, okay? When it wasn't necessary. It was not necessary. It was just a money grab that businesses were like, oh, so you're saying it's cheaper to build in Mexico or outsource our call centers to India? Great, we're going to do that. It was not necessary at all. And we obviously could bring those jobs back with some, new business rules, that's all. And so tariffs or blah, blah, blah. Anyways. So you have to realize that white people have legitimate concerns, but they are, and obviously black people have legitimate concerns, and I don't think we need to spend too much time on that because obviously they're being killed by the police and ostracized and oppressed. Every stat you look at, I guess we are going to talk about it. Black people are being targeted, and like just everything. Infant mortality rates, poorer services at hospitals, poorer education, earning less than a white person. Women are subjected to that as well. Obviously, black people and minorities are being unfairly targeted. And if you ask me, it's not that the parallels between black people and Hispanic people and non-college educated white people, what the trend is it's the people against the businesses. And the businesses are winning. And businesses will make money on a civil war. They don't care if you kill yourselves. They'll just move to wherever, outer space or their Cayman Island retreat while you murder yourselves, families murdering family members, and they'll just, they'll ship you the guns. They'll ship you the weapons. They'll ship you whatever you want. And they're going to get more rich over it. That's the irony. A civil war is only going to help the businesses. And so I really would like to see a realization that it's the 99% against the 1%. And I'm not talking about billionaires or millionaires. I'm talking about corporate interests. When corporate interests have more say than the people, then we have legitimate problems. And that to me is the war, the people against the businesses. Okay, Jane says, I have a reparation idea that will work. Anyone with connection to Shirley Jackson Lee, I need to talk to her. She doesn't take emails from people out of her district. Okay, that's interesting. Putting this out here, says Robin. Joyce and I have been drug-free for a year. My man. Wow, Robin and Joyce, congratulations. Wow, that's amazing. Brandy says, having experience in both places, I feel like the South is a kinder place. Yeah, even with the things I witnessed. I wish people would spend more time in the South. Northerners have a very stereotypical idea of like Alabama, Mississippi that is wrong. And Texas, which is absolutely wrong. I hate having Southern values in the North. The people in the North just hate to hate, or at least that's how it feels to me. I think you're right, Brandy. I think you're right. Minorities aren't just based on skin color. That's right. Yeah, isn't that awesome, Robin and Joyce? Congratulations. So I'm going to wrap up because we need to live our lives. Starting a civil war is what people are trying to do, okay? And I imagine it's happening on both sides. There's anarchists, anti-fascists, right? And these Proud Boys, the boogaloo, boogie, woogie dudes. I don't know what the heck their name is. And they're, Emery. Hi, Emery. It's so good to see you. They would like to see war because there's people that like to see war. They want to get dirty. And they think that a war will help their cause. And it may or may not. Obviously, one side is going to win and one side is going to lose, I don't honestly believe that the white college-educated the white un-college-educated person is going to win. I just don't believe it. It's going to be off to vote. I'm going to go vote too. I don't think it's going to end well. I would like to team up with the non-college educated white people because I believe they are experiencing just what we're going to go see. I love you so much, Joyce. I'm going to go see if I can find that sign and cover it up with some spray paint that I'm going to go buy. They're being targeted just now as much as black people, and I believe that the black people, the Hispanic people, and the poor white people need to unite, which is the vast majority of the country, incidentally, against corporations. Not against multimillionaires. I'm not saying murder the millionaires. I'm not saying murder the billionaires. I'm saying fight the corporate interests. The government will win. They sure, yeah. Yeah, the government is so powerful. I believe it's a war against the corporations, okay? And you and what's funny is like when you take a don't wear anything remotely political, expect long lines. Okay, that's good. That's a good pro tip. Never mind. I can't remember what I was going to say. That's a good reason to end. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend, You make my life so much more full and interesting and valuable. I'm just so thankful to know you. Poor and white, yeah, poor and white, but not uneducated, right? And so I believe poor and white. I believe the poor people's. I'm looking into the poor people's movement, becoming more a part of that. We need to unite and change the corporations. They gotta get less power. Okay, everybody. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a wonderful Sunday and a great rest of the week. And I'll see you next week. If I didn't say something that irked the Facebook gods. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go back too. All right, everybody. I love you. Did I mention that? Bye.